Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Ayşe Süberker. A deal for China to build a nuclear power plant in Turkey is near. That's according to Turkey's energy minister, who gave hints that negotiations are reaching the final stages. The construction is planned to take place in Turkey's Kirklareli province in the eastern Thrace region within the next few months. Once completed, it will be Turkey's third nuclear power plant and a major leap for Ankara's 2053 net zero emission goals. Turkish Energy Minister Alparslan Bayraktar said Chinese officials had already visited the site of the planned nuclear power plant and that the deal could be struck within months. Turkey is currently building its first nuclear power plant with the help of the Russian company Rosatom along its southern coast in Mersin. Ankara is also in talks with South Korea about its second nuclear power plant, which is slated to be built along the Black Sea. Turkey, which has stepped up its drive to diversify its energy sources and become a regional energy hub, also has ambitious plans to reach zero emissions by mid-century. And now to discuss the nuclear power deal between Turkey and China, joining me from Istanbul is Filiz Katman. She is the Director of Energy Politics and Markets Research Center at Istanbul Aydın University. And from Beijing, Einar Tangen is a political and economic affairs analyst. A warm welcome to you both, and thanks for joining me on Straight Talk. So, Einar, what's the latest on the negotiations between Turkey and China to build a nuclear power plant?
Well, it seems to be going very well. There's indications that there are no disputes, but all of these things are the devil is in the details. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Turkey has all sorts, 40 billion reasons to be looking for alternative energy sources, and electricity coming from nuclear is definitely the cheapest.
So, Filiz, it's not just China that Turkey is looking to work when it comes to nuclear energy. Turkey is also in talks with South Korea and Russia for the construction of the second power plant. What do you think? Which country is closer to striking a deal with Ankara?
Obviously, the negotiations are taking place with the impact of foreign affairs, especially the foreign policy of Turkey. And one should notice that it is very much related to the power struggle that Turkey is trying to become one of the global powers, which requires a nuclear capacity. So in that manner, negotiations that are going on between the countries that Turkey has been dealing with, it is very much related to the Turkish foreign policy. There is some kind of argument in the intellectual arena that Turkey has been moving towards the east instead of moving towards the west, which was the main orientation of Turkish foreign policy since the foundation of Turkish Republic. But one should notify that while Turkey is signing a deal with Russia, it is very much related to the technological capacity that the recent Russian technology capacity in nuclear power plants has been very further with the similar deals which were on the table. What we can see in future with regard to South Korea and other alternatives, it is Japan was also one of the countries that Turkey has been negotiating with, but we should consider the latest phenomena which appeared after Ukrainian issue, that nuclear became popular once more again because of the Russian power on the natural gas market. So that's why Turkey tries to increase the number of power plants, nuclear power plants in that manner. But again, I would like to emphasize that it is not apart from Turkish foreign policy with West and East.
So, Einar, what impact will the third plant have on Turkey's drive to lower its oil and gas imports? Will it make a huge difference?
Well, I mean, it's not something that happens overnight. First off, it takes quite a while to put these in place. My understanding is there's about 20 gigawatts of power that's being looked for. And they're not only confining it to larger nuclear facilities, they're also talking with the UK, US, and France about these small modular reactors called SMRs. They can be put in places that are remote. They can be very, very useful. They're looking about 5 gigawatts for there. But, there are issues there about technology transfer. They want them to be licensed and also created within Turkey. So, I mean, there are a lot of options out there, but obviously, they're trying to, Turkey is trying to figure out if they can get gas from any of their indigenous areas. Right now, they're about 99% dependent on gas coming from outside, large part of that coming from Russia. Currently, under the geopolitical situation, obviously, Turkey wants to be independent. It's unusual to have so many different power plants. That means that you have to have technicians that are versed in all of those, especially if they went to Korea. That would mean they would have Russia, Korea, and China. They'd have to learn from each of them, but that could be useful in the future. If the technology is there, they could start trying to put together a better nuclear reactor for themselves.
So what is the Chinese policy in here? Is Beijing keen on sharing its technology?
Beijing is unusual in that it is willing to share. They have a number of ventures, including the Middle East and throughout the Belt and Road Initiative, where they're actively saying, look, we want to share technology with you. This is not a keep away game. The world is depending on the technology to come up with solutions. Trying to hoard those is not going to lead to a better world. So in terms of sharing, it's fine, but not in terms of nuclear capability, in terms of weapons. That would be a no-go for China. They respect the IAEA, and they want to make sure that there's not a nuclear proliferation or an arms race that would further destabilize areas, especially in the Middle East.
So, Filiz, if a deal is finalized with Beijing, what impact will it have on their bilateral relations, you think?
It will definitely give a boost in Turkish-Chinese relations. We all know that Turkey has been considered as the middle corridor in One Belt, One Road initiative of China. And there is an alternative developed by Europe, becoming from India to Haifa port in Israel. And there is a kind of argument that Turkey has been replaced because of this recent Chinese-Turkey relations. In that manner, Turkey, I think, tries to provide some kind of alternative mechanisms. Again, we all know that in Turkish foreign policy, Turkey tries to create a balance between with East, with the power of its relations with the West.
Yes.
The same goes with the relations with the West. So this Chinese deal will definitely give another power in the negotiations between Turkey and the West.
So, Einar, besides their partnership in the Belt and Road Initiative, Turkey and China are opposed to the newly announced India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, which is called IMAC. If an agreement is reached, how would that add to Turkey's overall relationship amid the U.S.'s rivalry with China and Russia?
Turkey is a middle power, and much like the Middle East, it can determine its own foreign policy and the balance that it wants. Obviously, trade and security are issues. So far, Turkey has been very adept at handling the international situation, everything from the enlargement of NATO to standing up to the U.S. when there are issues, especially political, or being alleged. It's the indication that we now have a multipolar world, and there's no longer going to be a situation where the policies of one country are dictated in another country's capital.
So, Filiz, are Turkey's efforts to adopt nuclear energy part of a global trend, which is also being followed by several Middle Eastern countries, like we know Iran, Saudi Arabia, and lately the United Arab Emirates?
This phenomenon has been on the table for quite some time. I would like to emphasize that Energy Politics and Market Research Center contributed to the energy strategy of Turkey, which was devised in 2014. So it was included in that strategy, and it was updated with the 2020-2024 deal. And as I have mentioned in the very first part of our discussion, nuclear issue is not only an energy issue. It is very much related to power politics, which is the ambition of Turkey to become a global power. And we all know that there's a ranking in world powers that the countries who have nuclear capacity, the countries who do not have nuclear capacity,
Yes.
as in the deal between Turkey and Russia, developing some kind of technical capacity in Turkish, especially young generation, was part of the deal. So Turkey's ambition is to become independent in terms of technology, as you have notified. So that's why this entire process is very much related to power politics, not only energy at all.
So, but it's also important to note that these efforts come at a time when some European countries are phasing out their nuclear power plants. So, Einar, nuclear power is not the only sector where China is looking to heavily invest in. Turkey, Chinese tech giant Alibaba recently announced that it will invest $2 billion in Turkey's e-commerce company Trendel. Why is the Chinese company so interested in investing in Turkey? What kind of advantages does it offer?
Well, it's a huge population. Obviously, Turkey is a powerful nation in especially the Middle East area. It's a stepping stone between, or a doorway between Middle East and Europe. And therefore, it's always going to be very important. There's never been a time when Turkey isn't important. The fact is that Chinese companies are looking abroad for economic expansion. And, it just makes sense. You go where the population is, where you have the sophistication, and also where countries that are interested in their upgrading their infrastructure, as Turkey is doing.
All right, Einar and Filiz, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.